Hello, hello! Welcome to my channel. My name is Tato, aka Tato Animates. For those of you who are new and are just joining us today, welcome to the chaos. I'm kidding, of course. Or am I? Anyways, I am a small artist slash animator here on YouTube who is currently trying to create her own indie series called the Montauk Volumes. If you're interested in supporting a new independent cartoon series and want to know more about it, please check the link in the description. The purpose of this video is not to rant about my series, as these videos often turn out to be. Today we are here because I reached 4,000 subscribers! Yay! And I will be answering your questions in a sort of draw with me, get to know me sort of style. Alright, let's see what you all had to say. What made you start artwork? You know, that's actually kind of a tough question because I have been drawing for who knows how long. When I was really little, like probably 2 years old, I had this thing called an aqua doodle, and that was kind of my first introduction to the art world, so to speak. It was always my destiny to be an artist. Nothing really made me start artwork, I just did it. I started taking my art a bit more seriously when I first got a drawing tablet, started digital art, and began studying illustration. I guess you could say what caused me to take my art a bit more seriously was me actually wanting to make this my career. But yeah, I've been doing artwork practically ever since I was a toddler. How many years have you been animating? I've been animating for a little less than 5 years now. Like I said earlier, I didn't start animating until I got a tablet. When I realized I could take my drawings and bring them to life, I can't even begin to describe the power that I felt. And for 5 years, I have only been using Procreate to animate. But Tato, there are way better programs than Procreate. Yeah, well, I can't afford those programs, Karen. I'm cheap, okay? What's been your favorite piece slash animation so far, both fandomized and non-fandomized? Ooh, this is a great question. Of my fandomized animations, I would have to say that my Gravity Falls Little Kids animatic has got to be my favorite. It was one of those animations that just came to me on a whim. As soon as I heard the song, I knew immediately that it would work for Bill Cipher. It was also one of those animations where I genuinely had so much fun with it. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, go give it a watch. As for my favorite non-fandomized animation, meaning an animation based off of my indie series, the animatic I made for Will Be Fine has got to be at the top of my list. The Will Be Fine animatic was made to introduce one of my characters from the Montauk volumes, the diamond-headed lady named Orchid. She becomes an extremely important character in the lore of my series, but I don't talk about her too much, mainly because I don't want to give y'all spoilers. So this animation was just a simple way to introduce her character and how she is connected to the main cast. I particularly love drawing all of the expressions in this animation. What fandom have you been in the longest? Believe it or not, it's actually Star Wars. Yeah, Star Wars. I literally have been watching those movies since I was born. I grew up in a very nerdy family. Oh yeah, and if any of you Star Wars fans wonder which side I'm on, the Rebellion, all the way. What inspired you to come up with this series, and how have you been motivated to keep going? I have always lived in a very tight-knit family. My parents, my siblings, and I all get along really well. Like, weirdly well. We've had multiple people tell us how strange it is to see siblings who don't argue often and love being together, which I actually think is kind of sad in my opinion. Well, the Montauk Volumes was inspired by my own childhood and some of the bedtime stories my dad used to tell us before we went to bed. He used to tell us stories about 3 siblings who fought off evil monsters with magic in order to save their family, and it was his bedtime stories that inspired the Montauk Volumes. The series was also partly inspired by shows like Gravity Falls, The Deep, and Finding Bigfoot. I love shows about mysteries and mysterious creatures. As for the second question, gosh, that's a hard question. It's been extremely hard to stay motivated and keep the series going. I've even considered quitting before, especially when I was first writing the story and trying to connect the dots. But I think what has kept me motivated, even despite some of the writer's block, are my parents, specifically my dad. They have not only expressed how good a storyboarded pilot would look in my portfolio, but my dad specifically has expressed his love for the story. when I was feeling down about it, he told me that I couldn't give up. I had worked so hard on it. So yeah, I think it's really my family that keeps me motivated to keep going, since this series was made in honor of them. Did any specific people or characters inspire the creation of your characters? I feel like this directly relates to the previous question. Yes, at least the main cast is inspired by real people. Wesley, Zoe, and Darby are inspired by me and my siblings, and Mr. Gags was inspired by a family friend of ours. There are some characters, though, who are inspired by cartoon characters. Fester, the main antagonist, for example, is basically if you took Hades, Jax, and Bill Cipher and combined them like Play-Doh and made a character out of it. The main siblings have slight character inspirations, but they're mostly inspired by real people in my life. Okay, so now we're answering questions you guys asked about the characters. Yippee! If each of your characters were an animal, what would they be? Wesley would be a bunny, Zoe would be a Pomeranian, Darby would be a parakeet, Mr. Gags would be a panda, Raylan would be a snow leopard, and Fester would be a spider. Does Wesley have feelings for Raylan? For those of you who don't know who Raylan is, she is a family friend of the main cast, kind of similar to Mr. Gags, only that she is Wesley's best friend. And you'll have to find out for yourself. Does Zoe sometimes get her siblings into reckless danger? Not sometimes. Like, a lot of the time. She's very headstrong, so she doesn't think much before she acts. It's funny that this question came up because it is actually going to be a part of Zoe's character development. What is it like for Darby to be the youngest of the Cobble family? In her words, "It means I get away with stuff." What is Wesley's opinion on
hamburger? Hamburger.
Do you have any advice for aspiring artists/writers? Never quit, even when people tell you to. Even when you feel like nothing is going as planned. Even if you don't get that dream animation or design job. Even when you feel like you're having art block or writer's block. Just keep going. I have been creating art my whole life, and I never stopped because it's what I love to do. If God has given you a gift, use it to the best of your ability. Don't doubt that gift. Cherish it, even when other people might not. Alrighty peeps, I think that was just about it. Hope you all enjoyed this little Q&A/get-to-know-me/draw with me session. It honestly has been such a blessing to see all of you so interested in my animations and series. And I couldn't have made it to 4K without you, literally. Let me know what you thought of my answers in the comments below. Toodles!